What's up, everyone? I'm Scott, aka Spin Scott, and this is the Contested Reality. It's good to be back. Lots of excitement going on in the world of Sorcery. Like I usually recommend at the beginning of my videos, make sure that you check out the official Sorcery sites and socials. That is the official Sorcery Facebook group on the Faceplace, and then also Instagram, that is Sorcery TCG. And make sure you also check out all of the other fine content creators that are out there. There's just a lot of, it's just so much content. I mean, this community is, I've never seen so many people so passionate about something and just talking about all of the different aspects of it. And really, it just goes to show that you can have a new startup product and really be able to build out the community the right way and make everyone and everything accessible. And that's something that actually I really like about Sorcery overall, is the fact that you really have they almost have like an open door policy where there's really no gatekeeping. So if you want to reach out to the Sorcery company team members, you can do that typically via the Discord or through their website. And if you want to reach out to the artists, they are very accessible as well. I've reached out to several of the artists directly, and just the nicest people, so passionate about what they're making, just the art for this set, the beta, and obviously what they made for Alpha and the upcoming Arthurian Legends set. It's just really cool to be able to follow all of that, and you know, the artists get it, right? I mean, it's the same whether it's painting or music or anything else. You make yourself accessible, and you really invite new projects and new opportunities. I see so many people getting artists new renderings and signatures on their cards, and the artist appearances at the various events. And so it's just really cool. And speaking of events, we have the Sorcery Spring Social coming up in Baltimore. It's going to be huge. It's going to be globally. I mean, it's the largest event that has ever been scheduled for Sorcery. I mean, they've got someone like 5 or 6 artists coming out, a lot of people from the community, the players. I'll actually be there myself. I'm really looking forward to meeting everyone. And so, enough of that. Let's get into the cards. So again, today we're going to be going over 10 super powerful cards in Sorcery Contested Realm. I'm going to open up the trusty treasure chest here where I keep the goodies, and let's roll with it. So, first up, we have the Sorcerer. Now, I talked about the Sorcerer. Actually, a couple of these I talked about in my previous video where I was featuring 10 cards that really make Sorcery special to me. Welcome you to visit that video, review that video as well. But anyway, Sorcerer is really powerful. I mean, all the avatars are powerful in their own way, but Sorcerer is great because it gives you that extra potential spell draw throughout the game, and that is really, really potent in the second half, or depending on how you divide up your games, really the second half, whatever, of your game. And so I'm just going to read these off as I go through, and I'm also going to show them on the screen as well. But tap to play or draw a site. That's pretty common for the avatars, but you've got tap to draw a spell is the special ability. So once you've got typically somewhere between, it depends on your mana curve and your deck construction as a whole, but once you've got 4 or 5, maybe 6 sites out, and you're drawing a decent amount of mana. Maybe you've got some cores, some mixes, a Philosopher's Stone, whatever, supporting the mana and the resources that you need. You can do a spell draw for your turn, and then tap to do a second spell draw. And that just becomes really powerful for getting stuff out and keeping the game going. So, next up, we have another one of my favorites. They're all my favorites. We have the Kythera Mechanism. Now, this is super, super, super powerful because basically this changes any card where you see the word random in the text box. It changes random to target. And so that is just really wild, okay? Because you've got a lot of air spells specifically that they have random effects, and you can change them to target. My favorite opponent tends to play air a lot, and she's always nailing me with some of these cards that she can just target with once she's got this mechanism out. And so super effective. And actually, I'm going to sidetrack a little bit because I'm going to go through the 10 cards that have random in the text box, and I'm going to tell you real quick what they do. The first one is the Spark Mage. That's the second avatar we'll be talking about today. And Spark Mage, I got to aim these towards the light a little bit because I've got no overheads and just kind of these bright LEDs coming at me. So I got to tilt these a little bit. But tap to play or draw a site. Big surprise, they all do that. But the special ability is tap target nearby location. Deal damage to another random unit there equal to the sum of the air affinity on the spells you've cast this turn. Now, it is going to hit a random unit, but with the Kythera mechanism, is going to hit a target unit. That is super powerful for a death blow at the end of the game, or you've got, you know, I'll go through the cards that it really benefits, but yeah, I mean, all throughout the game, that just makes it really effective. The next one affected by the Kythera mechanism is the Nimbus Djinn. This guy has just hurt me so many times when my opponent plays it. It's just, man, I need to start playing Air and Kythera mechanism, honestly. But this one is airborne. It's airborne, so again, you get all the benefits that come along with that. And then discard a spell, deal 3 damage to another random unit here. So if you're already on a site where there's just 1 unit, that's great. You can just target that unit, but maybe there's 3 or 4, and typically someone will want to get the Nimbus Djinn onto the home site where their opponent's avatar is, and usually players will have multiple defensive creatures there or minions there already. And so the Nimbus Djinn becomes really, really extra powerful with the Kythera mechanism, because now you can just target the avatar or target the, I don't know, the annoying Colicky dragons that might be sitting there or whatever. I mean, it just makes it all that much more powerful. Going to be saying the word power a lot because that's what this video is about, so enjoy. Anyway, Crave Golem. Now this one has, let's see, at the start of each player's turn, Crave Golem strikes a random minion within its range of motion, or takes a step towards the closest minion if it can't. So again, you're changing random to target in this, and that just makes the Crave Golem all that more powerful. And that's actually a non-affinity minion, so this is, you know, could be used in any deck. That's really cool. Okay, now another one that I've seen pop up a lot in many games that I've played, Headless Haunt. Now, Headless Haunt is really, really unpredictable without the mechanism or without the lucky charm that gives you a second chance at a dice roll or second chance at a random outcome, because the Headless Haunt at the start of the play of the controller's turn, you basically roll a dice or however you select your random on your app or whatever, and it goes to a random site in the realm. Now, that's not too bad. It can be bad in the beginning because most sites are void, and you know, most spaces are void, and you want to try to get this where it can deal some massive damage if possible. It is, yeah, it's a power 4, so it's a pretty strong minion as it is. So with the mechanism, you can get it anywhere you want at the beginning of your turn. It's no longer random, and guess what? When this thing transports in the beginning of the turn to that space, it can still move and do its basic abilities. So many times this can be moved to the void and then swing in for a hit on a site. It can be moved to a unoccupied site to deal damage directly to the avatar via the site, or you know, anything that you want to do with it. So again, the mechanism just really gives you so much control over the Headless Haunt. And still hasn't found his head, but hey, you know, that's how it goes. All right, next up we have Raised Dead. Love the art on this one, just that hand coming up. If you've ever seen Cabin in the Woods, the very, very last scene, spoiler alert, when the giant evil from below reaches up and the hand just crushes the cabin. That's what this reminds me of, but it's very different. I love it. Anyway, Raise the Dead, summon a random dead minion. So random dead minion, that's okay. Again, you can summon one and you're summoning it, so you're bringing it directly out into the realm on your side when you play Raised Dead. Now, it can be from your cemetery or graveyard or your opponent's, and so may give you access to some interesting minions to bring out, but it's going to be random. And especially at the end of the game or towards the end of the game where there may be a lot of weaker, stronger, useful, not so useful minions, the Kythera mechanism just gives you the ability to pick any one of those. So again, super powerful. All right, next we have Thunderstorm. And Thunderstorm is at the end of your turn, deal 3 damage to a random unit atop affected sites. Then you may move Thunderstorm 1 step. It lasts 3 of your turns. So again, you're going to hit a random unit atop the affected site. Not anymore with the mechanism. You're going to hit the target unit on one of the affected sites. So again, awesome. Okay, Lightning Bolt, same kind of deal. You'll notice a lot of these are air affinity, the Headless Haunt, the Nimbus Djinn, Thunderstorm, Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt's powerful anyway. I mean, direct just a 3 damage, almost dropping it on the floor, it's so powerful. Direct 3 damage to a unit. Now, this is dangerous without the mechanism, but deal 3 damage to a random unit, now a target unit, at target location. So you can literally choose any unit on the board and bam, hit it for 3 damage. Really cool. Alright, I know we're spending a lot of time on the Kythera mechanism and its effects, but based on the level of power and controllability that brings to the game, definitely worth spending some time on. So, Aramos Mercenaries, another favorite art that I love. Okay, so it's an ordinary. You may discard a random card rather than pay this spell's mana cost. I should have memorized these before this, but I'm just, got a lot going on. Lots going on. So anyway, you can discard a random site or a random card. It could be a site or a spell from your hand, but you probably have some cool stuff that you're saving to play later on, so you don't want to drop it. And so the mechanism, you can now pick which one you want to drop. So maybe you've got enough sites out, you want to drop a site. Maybe you've got a weaker minion or something that's not really going to be effective at this particular stage of the game. You can ditch that one and bring out the mercenaries for free. You've paid for them. All right, 2 more here. We've got Men of Lang. Whenever Men of Lang strike an avatar, that wow, let me start that over because all this power is making me lose my language. Or lose my lang, I should say. Whenever Men of Lang strike an avatar, that avatar discards a random card. Now, that might not be what you think when you change random card to target because of the mechanism, because you're still not allowed to see your opponent's hand. There's actually on the Curiosa.io site, one of the FAQs actually talks about this Men of Lang card, and it specifies specifically that you can't look at the opponent's hand. So the most insight you're going to have is you're going to be able to see which cards of theirs are sites and which ones are spells, and depending on where you are, what your strategy or defense is, you can pick one or two of those, but you won't know exactly what you're getting because you can't see the cards. And then finally we've got Court Jester. Haven't been showing all of these up like this, but I promise I'll put them up on the screen. Again, I don't edit any of these videos in terms of changing anything or cuts. I'm just speaking freestyle. All of these are freestyled. And so if I've misspoken or talked about an effect incorrectly, make sure you correct me in the comments or shoot me a message or something. So anyway, Court Jester, at the end of your turn, each nearby avatar discards a random card. Again, so it's not random if it happens to you, it's target, and it's not really random if it happens to your opponent, but again, you're going to choose randomly that you can't, let me see, actually, at the end of your turn, each nearby avatar discards every... Okay, so actually that is, now that I'm understanding this, it is, if they're both nearby, it's not random, and so now it's target because of the Kythera mechanism. So, alright, the lesson, okay, the key takeaway here is the mechanism is awesome, and if you're playing any cards with random, or you're playing against anyone that has any cards with random in the text box, you got to get that mechanism out. Now, I will mention that both players, this question comes up, both players can put out a Kythera mechanism, right? So what happens? Does everybody control each other? And the official rules state that whichever mechanism came into play most recently is the one that controls. So one strategy maybe if your opponent puts one out, you know your opponent has one because you've seen their deck or they've talked about it, bragged about it because it's a nice card, whatever. They put that card out, you can wait for them to put theirs out and then put yours out. And I think the only way they would be able to gain control over random is if theirs was destroyed and taken out of the realm and then resummoned or rebrought back in. You don't really summon those types of cards, so I don't know, we're getting into some of that silver golden rule type stuff, or maybe there's some FAQs on that. We'll have to see. But anyway, let's keep it rolling here. Next, we're going to talk about so we're done with the mechanism and its effects. Next, we're going to talk about Cornerstone. Now, I've put this in my Crossfire deck, and I've got a deck spotlight that's coming out very soon that's going to talk all about the use of this card and all of the other ones and why it's called Crossfire and why I use a sorcerer avatar versus a flamecaller and whatever. But Cornerstone is basically what it says is you may place this site in any corner space on the realm. Now, my understanding of that is that because you may place it into a corner, doesn't necessarily mean you have to place it into the corner, right? So if your strategy is to occupy your opponent's territory or their home area in the realm, on the board, on the playmat, then drop one of these in their corner. You also may have reasons for putting it in your corner. Now, because it says may, and it doesn't appear to be restricted to only corner spaces, it's a site. So a site by nature of that card type is that you can place it anywhere. So I didn't use this at first because I thought, well, wait a minute, what if I don't want to put it on a corner? There's no use for that and whatever. I might not, I later in the game, when I pull it, I might not need it. Well, Now, if I get it early and I can hit a good corner, awesome. If not, then I can just place it anywhere. So, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but that's how I'm playing it, and that's how I roll. So, speaking of rolling stones, the Philosopher's Stone, you knew you were going to see this one when I talked about the most powerful cards. You know, some people say this isn't necessary for every deck. Some people say it is. I mean, as I've mentioned in previous videos, and everyone mentions in their videos, it's still it's a team favorite to pull from packs or to have the poster of, which is actually hidden by this wall of boxes. Sorry. And yeah, so the Philosopher's Stone, really powerful card. It says, the first spell of each element cast by the bearer each turn costs 1 mana less. So it's a 1 mana discount for the first spell of each affinity that comes out. Now, that's amazing for multi-affinity decks. Not super useful from the affinity standpoint, you know, because it's the first of each if you're playing a mono or a single affinity deck. But yeah, if you're playing 2, 3, 4, that is great, because then you can cast 1 of each affinity and you're getting that discount 4 times. Now, the fun doesn't stop there, folks, because it's the bearer that gets that ability. So if your avatar is the bearer of this, for example, and your avatar casts a fire spell, gets the discount, then casts another fire spell, doesn't get the discount because it's only for the first one of the affinity, but then they cast an air spell, they get that discount again. Then the avatar drops this relic. So it is a relic, right? Yeah, a unique relic. So it drops the relic, and then another spellcaster, maybe a Lava Salamander, maybe an apprentice or Grandmaster Wizard, whoever, then moves over into that space, picks this up. They want to cast more spells, they get access to that discount again. I mean, that's what really makes it powerful, is if you can use it in conjunction with some of those other abilities and with multiple spellcasters and multiple bearers and things like that. So, plus it's just a gorgeous card, so the power of the image makes it one of the most powerful cards. All right, next up, I'm going to speed up a little bit here. Next up, we have Colicky Dragonettes. I also talked about this one in my top 10 favorite super influential cards, whatever that video was. And the reason why Colicky Dragonettes is really powerful is because it's nice to be able to get recurring damage or deliver recurring damage from something without really having to do anything. So this is a 3-cost, 3-power minion, so as is, that's pretty powerful. It's a fire minion, but it also shoots a 1-power projectile at the end of your turn every time. And so this can be used to, I mean, I've seen this deal the death blow, I've seen it wake up a slumbering giantess, I've seen it just continue to annoy the heck out of my opponent, and maybe even you've done some damage to an opposing or an enemy minion, and that minion has 1 left at the end of the turn, and you can, if this is in the right spot, you can shoot that projectile and knock it out. So, really powerful. And then, these next two kind of go together, but they certainly don't have to, so River of Flame, again, I'm really heavy on the fire because that's what I'm playing right now. So if I make this same video, 10 super powerful cards in a month or whenever, I'm just going to check my time here. Yeah, we're doing good. So if I do it again, it might be a different, you know, it might be water because that's really been catching my eye lately. But River of Flame, just a great site for, again, beautiful art, but also River of Flame is a fire spellcaster. So I've seen people destroy sites. Certainly you have a sinkhole that can do it. You've got other ways you can sacrifice or destroy sites, but it's much more common to see a spellcaster get wiped out, a non-avatar spellcaster get knocked out, than it is a site. So having this out gives you the ability to shoot fire projectiles or cast fire spells from the site. So I talk about this a lot in my Crossfire deck spotlight, and so you'll hear more about that in the coming days or weeks. But really something awesome about this card and this site in particular is that according to the rule book, a site basically has 2 areas. It's not really how they say it, but it's got a surface and then it has a subsurface. So because of that, this can cast spells on the surface or from the subsurface. Now, no other spell, to my knowledge, or projectile can traverse the ground, so you can't be above ground on the surface and shoot a projectile under the surface, right? So your root spiders, which are really a pain to deal with if you get up against some root spiders, right? You need a cave troll or some other burrowing minion to get to it. And if you're playing fire, I don't think there are any fire minions with burrowing. There might be 1 or 2. Can't recall at the moment and haven't really seen them around. This gets you past that because this is going to be able to fire that burrowed spell, right? So you can shoot fireball, anything you want using the sight. Underground, pretty awesome. Okay, Mirror Realm. I think this is the most powerful card in the game. Certainly the most powerful sight in Sorcery Contested Realm because it can be any sight in Sorcery Contested Realm, right? You can Mirror Realm a River of Flame and bam, you've got two fire spell casting sights, or you can make the huge blunder that I did in my last game that I played with my favorite opponent, and I bragged about this. I said in my post something to the effect of this could be example for Darwinian Legends playbook, right? Because this really was stupid on my part, but she had a Cloud City. I was playing Fire, and she put the Cloud City out, and I put her avatar on it, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm going to mirror that Cloud City so that I can just chase her avatar around, because I knew she was trying to get away from my spellcaster, so I was going to put a spellcaster on here and just chase her around, make sure that I was always adjacent or nearby to be able to do certain things, right? And so I didn't realize that I had forgotten that the special ability on Cloud City, it costs 3 air affinity to move it to a nearby void space, and so I basically had like a permanently grounded Cloud City. So, I mean, that kind of sucked. It just wasn't great, right? So, all right, we're coming down the home stretch here. We've gone through most of the cards. The last 2 are actually going to be sets of 4 because that's how they are. And you can actually, this was a cheater or a teaser right here because you can see them on my playmat here. But what I'm going to showcase next is the 4 cores. You've got Aquamarine Core, you've got Amethyst Core, you've got Ruby Core, and you have Onyx Core. Now, everyone talks about these. Everybody loves these. I love these. They're super powerful. Again, it's like the stones. Some people say, oh, you don't need cores. And yeah, they are pricey cards. I mean, if you're lucky enough to pull them out of a box, that's fantastic. If you need to buy them on the secondary market, you can. The prices tend to fluctuate. I really don't intend to talk too much about pricing or the secondary market here on the channel. I really want to just focus on the core, the cores of Sorcery itself. But yeah, so all of the cores are the same in function. They just affect each affinity respectively. So let's see. Provides 1, I'll use Ruby for example, provides 1 fire affinity and 1 mana to its controller. So it's not a sight. So you don't have to worry about, it being a sight or being destroyed as a sight. These are, let's see, what does this say? It's a unique relic of inflamed efficacy. That's at least what the Ruby Core one, of course. Again, I'm using the Fire one right now, so that's the one I'm showcasing. But they all do the same thing, respectively, of their affinity. And so, yeah, you get one of these out early, and it's really useful. You get it out later, maybe not as useful. I mean, there's a lot of arguments and discussions, rather friendly arguments, of course, in the wonderful community about how useful these are. And I do believe that these belong in most decks. I mean, I use them, and if you can use like a Highland Princess to fish one out early, that's great. Sometimes you can mulligan and get lucky for those, and that's cool too. So, all right, next up, and the last, actually second to last here. You know what? Actually, I got out of order, so we're not almost done. We got a couple left. So if you're enjoying this, stay tuned. If you're not, stay tuned anyway because these cards are beautiful, and you'll enjoy it, I promise. So we've got the mixes, and like I recommended during the beautiful and mysterious full solar eclipse, total eclipse that we just had recently, I hope you charged your mixes because, yeah, they're potions, and yeah, you can charge water with the eclipse and certain types of full moons and different other types of things. We'll get into true alchemy on a side channel or something. But anyway, the mixes, we've got Mix Air for air, we've got Mix Aqua for water, we've got Mix Ignis for fire, and we've got Mix Terra for earth. Now, this says, sacrifice the mix. This turn, the bearer's next spell of the respective affinity requires no threshold and costs 3 less mana to cast. Now, obviously, not much to say about that. It's fantastic, right? You get, and if you notice these little stickers on the back of here, these are on my top loaders. I use some of these to play in my decks, and these are actually from my art set. And so I'm going to go through all the collectible stuff. I've been promising that. Haven't gotten to it, but I promise I will. But yeah, the mixes, what I like about these, not only does it give you that 3 mana and no affinity on that spell, but also you can play these into the realm, but you don't have to use it that turn. So you can sideline 2 of these. It's an elite, so you can have 2 of each. And if you're playing multiple affinities, you can have multiples out. And you can kind of sandbag those for later and drop some really powerful stuff. Next up, we have another site. We've got Pillar. Actually, these two go together. So this is the 10th super powerful card, and guess what? It's actually a powerful combo. So because I did this the other day and I was super excited, love to share it with you. So Death Dealer plus Pillar of Zeros. So let me tell you why this is cool, right? Everyone knows the Death Dealer. Genesis, kill all other minions. It's so simple, so powerful, right? I was just going to include this card because, I mean, we were both at death's door. There was a bunch of minions. I had no way to defend. I got lucky. I pulled a Death Dealer and I destroyed all the minions, right? And then I was able to get something out and fire a spell and finish the game. So the reason why that matches up super well and super powerful with Pillar of Zeros is that the genesis of this is, let's see, banish all dead minions and you heal one life for each, right? So you've just killed all the minions on the realm, and then you put this site out right after it, and you get life for each one. And let me tell you something. Sometimes there's a lot of dead minions in these cemeteries or graveyards. I forget which term they use in this game, but cemetery, graveyard mean a similar thing. All right, so that is all the powerful cards we're going to go over today. Again, I might do another iteration of this monthly or quarterly, because as I get into more of the cards, and certainly as there's more sets, there's going to be power shifts and everything else. But I'm going to wrap up the video today like I always like to do, with a favorite card of mine, the card that I am currently obsessed with, and that is the Immortal Throne in foil. I'm so happy to have this. I opened another box the other day. It was the last box I got from Team Covenant right before they sold out. I ordered it, and then a couple hours later the notice came out they were sold out. And so I pulled this out of one of the packs, and I was ecstatic. I mean, it's a really nice one to have in foil because it looks like the Immortal Throne is seen through. It's either like a tunnel of trees, or it almost looks like trees in a cave or something, and then there's light shining down. I don't know if you can see this. I might be blinding you with the glare from my LEDs. Sorry if that's the case, but you can see it on the back here too. I'll put a picture up on the in the frame of the video. So anyway, foil Immortal Throne in beta, and so loving that one. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in to the Contested Reality. If you're enjoying this content, again, I like to keep it very accessible, very pragmatic, very diplomatic. Just because I don't know if people watching these videos have been playing Sorcery since the day the Kickstarter dropped, or if maybe they just bought their first pack at a trading card game store 90 minutes ago or 2 minutes ago or whatever. So these videos, a lot of the videos, at least early on in the development of this channel, are going to be fairly basic, talking about things that you may or may not know. If you already know them, fantastic. One-up me in the comments, add something that I may have missed. But if you're brand new, I certainly welcome you to learn everything you can, and definitely invest some time and some funds if you've got them into Sorcery, because, man, it is just a super fun game. Having a blast talking about it here on the Contested Reality channel. Thank you so much. Please subscribe. Please follow if you like to do that sort of thing. I hope to see you at the next one. Cheers.